Howdy, hi, hey! I'm Father Daniel Bowen, Vocation Director from the Order of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Mercy, or the Mercedarian Friars here in the United States of America. And as Vocation Director, I'm often asked many questions, and I'm going to answer one of those questions that I've been given for you right now. So one question that I'm often asked is, what are the main differences between your order, and other orders or congregations? And I'd say the main difference is, again, our charism, which we could say is our specialty, which is expressed most fully in our fourth redemptive vow, which only our Mercedarian order takes. And that, would I say, what sets us apart. Our Lord says, "Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." That's from the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 13. And this quote is often used to describe the most heroic sacrifice that a person can make for another. And yet, just even as Christians in general, Jesus calls us to follow that same path that he took, in one way or another, to draw others closer to God. And it will require, always in whatever case, some form of sacrifice. We all know stories of different saints who seem to do so much out of love for God and their fellow human beings. And we should also know that each and every one of us are called to be saints. So one way of going that extra mile that's practiced among the religious order in various congregations is taking a fourth vow. Now, it's true that all consecrated religious, meaning brothers, priests, friars, or sisters that live in community, make the three traditional vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. But again, there's some orders that make that a fourth vow. Again, that's always directly related to that charism or specialty of the group. And people have thought, well, aren't the three vows enough? Why do you guys have this fourth vow? Well, in his apostolic exhortation, Vita Consecrata, Pope St. John Paul II mentioned the three vows or evangelical councils. And then he said this. He said, "In every age there have been men and women who, obedient to the Father's call and to the prompting of the Spirit, have chosen the special way of following Christ in order to devote themselves to him with an undivided heart." And then, in speaking of the evangelical councils, the Catechism of the Catholic Church says, "The religious state is thus one way of experiencing a more intimate consecration, rooted in baptism and dedicated totally to God." And that's in paragraph 916. And then lastly, Father John Hardin, of late memory, servant of God, in his Modern Catholic Dictionary, this eminent theologian defined a vow as such. He said, "It is a free, deliberate promise made to God to do something that is good and that is more pleasing to God than its omission would be." Vows unite the soul to God by a new bond of religion. And so the acts included under the vow become also acts of religion. Hence, they are more meritorious. Now, in speaking further on four vows, other orders do take a fourth vow. For example, one order that's very well known that can take the possibility of a fourth vow are the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus. They have a fourth vow that is taken to the Supreme Pontiff, a vow of obedience to the Pope. And then another order that has a fourth vow is Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity. They take a fourth vow to wholeheartedly and with free service to the poorest of the poor. And then lastly, another is the Religious Sisters of Mercy, which are based in Alma, Michigan. And they take a fourth vow of service to the poor, sick, and ignorant. The Franciscan Friars of the Immaculate, based in Frigento, Italy, take a fourth vow where they consecrate themselves to the Mother of God. So again, this fourth vow is not common among religious orders, but for those that have it, it reflects a special intensity of the order or congregation that reflects the historical events of the time, okay? For instance, the Jesuits, as I mentioned, were begun in the midst of a world that was completely ravished by the Protestant revolt of Martin Luther and John Calvin, okay? So, and again, Protestants, again, do not believe in the authority of the Pope. And so, therefore, this Jesuits' fourth vow really reflects their loyalty to the leader of Christ's church, the Pope. Now, the fourth vow of the missionary charities, again, I also mentioned, reflects their charism of helping the poorest of the poor. And there's so many of them, of course, around today. Now, the order of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Mercy, again, we may not be as well known as an order. We take a fourth vow that goes all the way back to the origins of the order, founded in 1218 by Peter Nolasco in Spain. And this fourth vow of the Order of Mercy is to give everything, including one's life, should it be necessary, for the redemption of captives and the oppressed. And it's sometimes known as the blood vow. And for our order, this fourth vow sprang from our mission during a time when Catholics in Spain and other areas in the Mediterranean were captured as slaves by Muslims. And again, the order began when St. Peter Nolasco, a young man and really a contemporary of St. Francis of Assisi and St. Dominic, was saddened and at the sight of the captured Christians that he would encounter, who would give up their faith, their Christian faith, to become Muslims just in order to save their lives from their captors' swords or their oppression. So Peter, the son of a merchant, who had a good understanding of how to negotiate, saw an opportunity of how to bring his fellow Catholics out of that danger by offering ransom money in exchange for the captives. And so his friars, my friars, back in the original starting of the order, would beg for money and alms, raise these funds, and then go and buy these captives and then return them to their families. So again, this vow is particularly very special, pointing into our charism, again, setting these captives free. Now, oftentimes we will work in prisons or in hospital chaplaincies, or even within parish settings. Any type of sin is a captivity, right? And what we can do is visit and try to redeem, to set free from these different various captivities. So this vow is allowing us and encouraging and really committing ourselves to begin to kind of, we could say, be all in, right? In order to visit and free Christians who are in captivity, right? And again, be glad to give up our lives if necessary in imitation of Jesus Christ in the way that he gave and continues to give up his life for each and every one of us.